So the Huni Kuin tribe are a tribe that are the custodians of these plant-based medicines in the Amazon jungle. They work with hundreds of different medicines, and they have lots of different information and wisdom that they know within these plants, which plants to use for which ailments and which diseases. My intention is to learn more about the plants that come from the Amazon jungle. But the plants that I will be working with is ayahuasca, which is an incredible healing plant on its own. Another plant, Sananga, which I'll speak about. Um, Kambo, which is a medicine that comes from a frog. And Rape or Hape, which is a shamanic tobacco snuff. But what I've sort of gathered at this point is that the Huni Queen is like a it's like a banner tribe. There's one group that fall under the Huni, which means they hold the same philosophy, they hold the same teachings, the same type of medicine, the same way they work with the medicine. You see, where we as the West went out and advanced in internet and spaceships and submarines and all these different inventions that we've created, and we're so proud of them, skyscrapers and all these things that we've developed, where we've advanced externally, the tribes through these different plants have advanced internally. They haven't got spaceships that go to the moon, but they've gone internally to their own pain and their own shadows, and they've healed those aspects of themselves. But these guys can actually send a message. They can actually send a message from their mind to another person's mind. As mad as that, as crazy as that could sound to someone.
Welcome, guys, back with Indigo Jedi and Ancient Wisdom. Today, we are joined by Moshe again from the thehapecouple and the Healing House. And today, we're talking about something really special. Moshe has been invited by an indigenous tribe from the Amazon jungle, the Huni Kuin tribe. And he's been invited for a special cultural exchange visit. So, Moshe, we are so happy that you're here with us, and tell us about this trip that you're going on.
Thanks so much, Deepak. I really appreciate this opportunity to share this incredible journey that somehow I've manifested. It's been a long time coming. It's taken about 10 years of really working deeply with these medicines and getting a deep understanding and connection with these medicines and how they work. And essentially, I've been invited by, like you said, the tribe, the Huni Queen, which is a tribe that works as the custodians of plant-based medicines from the Amazon jungle. They have lived in the Amazon jungle and have been working with these ancient wisdoms, these plant wisdoms that have been passed down from generation to generation to generation till present day. Um, yeah, so I'm basically heading off to the tribe. I've been invited by the tribe, by the chief, for a month to come there. He said to me, "The forest is open to you." I've got an incredibly large journey ahead of me, and yeah, I'm here to share any questions or anything about the journey that you want to know.
So, let's start off with the Huni Kuin tribe. Who are they, and why are you interested to go and spend a whole month with them?
So the Huni Queen tribe are a tribe that, like I said, are the custodians of these plant-based medicines in the Amazon jungle. They work with hundreds of different medicines, and they have lots of different information and wisdom that they know within these plants, which plants to use for which ailments and which diseases, be it emotional or spiritual or mental diseases, to actual physical, external diseases like rashes or anything like that. So really my intentions are to go and learn more, to go and learn. I've spent 10 years in South Africa, and I've had various teachers either from South Africa or from different tribes that have come through and been teaching me over this time, over the last 10 years. And now that the tribe invited me, which is something I was sort of waiting for an invitation, and for the right for the right feeling of the right tribe and the right person to invite me, which I've now received. Um, my intention is to learn more about the plants that come from the Amazon jungle. The specific plants that I will be learning, I mean, there will be various of plants that I don't have a clue about that I will start learning about. So I'm open to the mysterious and that I do not know. But the plants that I will be working with is ayahuasca, which is an incredible healing plant on its own. Another plant, Sananga, which I'll speak about. Um, Kambo, which is a medicine that comes from a frog, and Rape or Hape, which is a shamanic tobacco snuff, which also is a medicinal. It's the application is medicinal, and the process of it is intentional and also healing and grounding. So those are specifically 4 different plants that I'm going to be learning about. And then there's, like I said, varieties and varieties of different other plants and different combinations of plants that I will also be open to learning about.
The Amazon jungle is like really a huge, huge, huge jungle, and people don't appreciate how large it is. And I understand the Huni Kuin tribe actually are in Brazil and Peru. They're like sort of on the border and take up um, occupy both countries in a way. How does that work? Is it like just one village, or is there like hundreds of villages where the Huni Kuin sort of live in a huge area?
So my understanding at this point is still a research sort of understanding, but not an understanding of being in the place. But what I've sort of gathered at this point is that the Huni Queen is like a it's like a banner tribe. It's like there's one group that fall under the Huni, which means they hold the same philosophy, they hold the same teachings, the same type of medicine, the same way they work with the medicine. And then they'll have different villages, different pockets of villages that are in different parts of the jungle, but they're all speaking the same language and the same philosophy and the same conceptual belief system. So I think that's how it works. Where then there are other tribes like the Yawanawa tribe and the Shipipo tribe, the Katukina tribe. There's lots of different tribes in the Amazon jungle. So you'll find that between the different tribes, they'll have different medicines. They might have the same. They might all work with ayahuasca and sananga and kambo and rape or hape, but essentially they all have different ingredients, and their medicines will be either different or stronger or weaker, or they'll speak with a different personality. The actual plants that they work with and the mixes of plants that they use, and so their whole structures are different. So the concept is the same, but the way that they give it over and the way that they teach it or transfer the plants or the information is different.
That's beautiful. And I know you haven't gone there yet, so maybe some of the questions are difficult to answer. But when you're back, we're going to do another podcast and you're going to give us like actual first-hand experience of living with the Huni Queen and living in the jungle, etc. But now we're just talking about the trip before you go on the trip. So it's a bit tricky to answer all the questions. So let's dive into the actual medicines because that's why you're going there, right? You want to learn about the different medicines. Ayahuasca is obviously the most famous one. I mean, worldwide, everyone is doing ayahuasca ceremonies and like ayahuasca has become popular in documentaries and movies, etc. But I did come across a documentary called Huni, and it was actually about the Huni Kuin tribe doing a huge ayahuasca ceremony for the upliftment of the planet or awakening of people across the globe or something like that. So let's start with ayahuasca, and then we can unpack each of the medicines in a bit more detail. I didn't really have a question, but let's talk about ayahuasca. What do you know about the Huni Kuin way of ayahuasca? I think you mentioned it might be a bit stronger than some of the other tribes. Maybe they have a different preparation process. Maybe they have different ingredients. Um, let's just talk about that in general.
So what I found is the tribe that I'm working with. um, the Huni. So there, like we said, there are different pockets of Huni Kuin. So I can't even speak for every single pocket of Huni Kuin that there is, but the specific village that I'm going to and the integrity that I'm going to is the highest level of integrity that I've seen within the ayahuasca movement and people that have been working with ayahuasca so far in the last 10 years. And I've seen all different variants and varieties of people that serve this medicine. For example, if you look at integrity in Peru, there are places where, as long as the person has enough money, they can fly to Peru. They can do about a 1 month ayahuasca crash course, and they'll come back serving ayahuasca. They'll come back serving this medicine to other people. The Huni, where I work, they they at least if someone spends at least 6 months in the jungle with them, only then will the person come back serving ayahuasca. If they manage the 6 months, and if the chiefs and the village see that this person's a custodian and is supposed to be working with the medicine, then the person will come back. So there's like a really big integrity, and they are people of truth. That's what I've really come across with this specific tribe. They are truthful people. I'll give you an example of the sort of care and love that I've received just from my interactions with this tribe, and specifically with the chief that I'm working with, is that for me to get to where I'm actually going in the Amazon jungle, I'm not going to like a peripheral place in the Amazon jungle. I'm going into sort of the heart center of the Amazon. I'm going really deep into the Amazon jungle. So it takes a flight from South Africa to Brazil, and then a flight from internal Brazil to another airport about 2 hours from Brazil, and from that airport another 7.5 hour flight. So that's like it's equivalent of an international flight that we're talking about within the country, till I get to another state in Brazil. I then get a bus for 7.5 hours until I get to the entry point of the Amazon jungle, and then I get onto a boat for a day and a half on a huge river that goes through the Amazon jungle until I get to where the tribe is. So that's just the traveling time in, and then the traveling time out. So it's quite a large journey to take on. And essentially, what the chief's son has said, he said that where I get off at the last airport, he will come all the way out from the village to that point and collect me. So it just shows the type of person that we're talking about, type of people that I'm talking about. Talking about the actual medicine. The medicine, first of all, I just want to say that ayahuasca, and that's why, because there's this big mainstream and everyone's talking about ayahuasca, like you said, but ayahuasca is not necessarily for everyone. And the people that do drink ayahuasca, essentially they should be quite strong within themselves, and they should be able to know that they can handle like a really intense 6 hours of their life for the good. The results will be good, but essentially it's not a walk in the park. It's not a fun quick experience. It's not a psychonaut experience. It's something that like is deep healing, and it takes really profound preparation and lots of respect, in the sense that like this is a serious process going to be happening. It's almost like a psychedelic surgery, but in a very safe and good healing way. But it's intense. Why? Because the medicine, it connects with your system once you drink it. It's highly psychedelic. It feels like you're having a communion with Earth, with Mother Nature, and you're a part of this communion, and it's there to sort of show you what parts of yourself need to be changed or what parts of yourself need to be shifted. And it has at a point an intense nausea, and actual purging happens, and that purging is lots of the healing, because that's the releasing of blockages and traumas that are being held in the actual physical body, because the physical body restores and remembers everything. It forgets nothing. The mind might forget something, but the physical body remembers everything since birth, probably even from when in the mother's womb. So essentially, that's what the ayahuasca does. The Huni Queen, what's so beautiful about the way that they serve this medicine and the way that they work with this medicine, is that their chanting and their singing is upbeat and it's happy and it's uplifting. So as I'm going through this tormenting, terrible, looking at my dark side and my shadow and facing all these aspects of myself that maybe I'm ignoring or trying to suppress or trying to run away from, right? But this medicine's making, like, it's sort of bringing them all to the forefront. So it has to be faced. It has to be faced. It's not running away anymore. But then as it's getting so hard, I look up in the room because I've worked with these guys before. I look up in the room and I see the music and it's dancing and there's big smiles and there's energy and the space is being held. Like, I can absolutely fall apart and I will be held, and not physically, no one touches me, but the space is being held, the energy is being held. So my experiences with this tribe have been really good. The medicine that they have, the ayahuasca that I've drank with them, and I've drank with Shapipo, I've drank with even other Huni Kuin tribes, but this medicine, it feels like it's unchanged. It feels like it is exactly what comes from the jungle. It wasn't changed. It feels like the intentions are really good intentions, and the intentions are not about money or about ego or about being, the intentions are about healing. And it's felt through the medicine. And every time I've actually drank with these guys, I've besides for had a hard process that I had to face myself and purge stuff out, and had to go through some sweating and some crying and all these different emotions that came through my body that needed to be released. But I had massive shifts in my life. I had massive shifts, like physical shifts. I actually was my wife and I were staying in like sort of a cramped up apartment, which was good for us at the time, but we'd really outgrown it completely. And we went and we did a healing ceremony, ayahuasca, with these chiefs. And about 2 weeks later, we moved into this like amazing house, and we didn't even know it was coming. And even like the house that we moved into, it had Wachuma cactus already growing inside the house when we moved in. So like those kind of shifts, it's like stuff that like beyond what I could even think about. And then all of a sudden, because I was able to let something go in an integral space where people are holding it in a real way, there was a real actual physical shift in my life. And so that's why I'm sort of interested in these medicines. Not the reason I'm interested in these medicines is exactly that, is because for a long time in my life, I was challenged with depression, and the depression became a suicidal depression, and I went into medication, and I took lots of drugs to try and I didn't go into the hardcore drugs, but I did all the party designer drugs, and I really thought that was like me trying to help myself, etc. But there was never a change. And when I started working with these medicines, I mean, like ayahuasca is already quite high up there, but I'm saying mushrooms, the wachuma cactus, even raw cacao, these medicines, they just they allowed me to open my heart and to start feeling things and to start uh, releasing pain and to start releasing. So that's why I'm on this journey, and I'm really passionate about it, because I actually, besides for myself, but all the people that I've seen, and there's hundreds of people that I've seen that are working with these plants, and that are having real big shifts and positive changes in their lives. And that's why I am still doing what I'm doing, and that's why I'm going to extend the learning now with the Huni Queen. I didn't want to just rock up there, and I didn't want to just go there blind. I wanted to wait till I was invited. I wanted to wait until there was the right channel, the right feeling. I was invited, and then I could come. So, I've got my wife's blessing. She's such a special woman, and she's such a huge support in my journey. And I've got my spiritual counselors, so to speak. I've got their blessing, my rabbonim, the rabbis. I've got the blessing of my parents. I mean, I'm a grown man, so, but it's still nice to have your parents on board. It's still nice for me to have my parents on board on something like this. So yeah, so that's sort of ayahuasca. Ayahuasca, just to give those who haven't drank the medicine or haven't worked with it before, the way that it works is that we sit in sort of a healing space that's been prepared and cleansed, and it's ready for this process that's about to unfold. The medicine is made in the Amazon jungle, and it's from there. It's made by the custodians of the medicine, so the people who know about the medicine are the ones who bring it and serve it. We normally drink like a tot of the medicine. Depends on your size and on your experience, etc. And then the actual plants, the combination of plants, this is a phenomenon on its own. The combination of plants is in the Amazon jungle. I'm not sure what Google says, but I've heard between 40,000, 50,000 different species of plants. I'm sure it could be even more than that. But of all those different species of plants, apparently, naturally, the ayahuasca, which is the Banis stropus carpi vine, um, which is the one part of the ayahuasca, which is like a vine. It's an actual, it's like bark, like a piece of wood, so to speak. It's a bark. And then the other part of this medicine is a leaf, which is called the chacruna leaf. That's what they work with in Brazil. And in Peru, they work with the mimosa leaf. Okay. So when they mix this leaf, they cook this leaf and this Banistrophis carpi vine together, that creates the ayahuasca brew. So it's a combination of these two plants. And what's so fascinating is that these two plants are grown on opposite sides of the Amazon jungle naturally. So now today they're probably growing them closer together, but essentially if you had to think about it, there's 40,000 different species, and they're taking two different plants, mixing them together, and from that they're getting this brew. So I mean, imagine the combinations of species of plants that they would need to have mixed together to try and get to this combination. It's like millions. But and they've got a story. They say that actually it was through this is one story. I'm sure there's many stories, but the story that came to me was that through the hape, which is a shamanic snuff. So that's easy to understand because that's tobacco. They have tobacco, and the tobacco is growing, so they can smell. Oh, there's something here about this plant. There must be a medicine inside of it. So they've got the tobacco. They grind the leaf of the tobacco, and that becomes like a grounded powder. They then take a tree, medicinal tree, a tree that they know this is a healing tree, and they take the branches that have broken off from, fallen on the ground already, and they take that and they burn that till it's an ash. They separate the coal and they keep the ash, and then they clean the ash through a sieve, so they've got the fine ash, and then they mix the raw tobacco which they've ground with the ash in different ratios, and that creates what we know as hape or rape. Okay, so the story that I heard was that through the rapé, they had the snuff. It opened up their consciousness to a certain level that when they walked past certain plants, the plants started like sort of communicating with them, not verbally or audio, but through frequency. And they were able to understand. Oh, okay, I need to take this plant. And then they'd walk further and they'd have the same thing happen. And they go, oh, okay, I understand. I need to take this plant. I understood. I need to put these plants together. And this is how different recipes and different understandings of different plant mixtures have come together. So these people, the Huni Kuin and all the tribes that are in the Amazon jungle, the indigenous people, you see, where we as the West went out and advanced in internet and spaceships and submarines and all these different inventions that we've created, and we're so proud of them. Skyscrapers and all these things that we've developed. And there is lots to be proud of because there's great breakthroughs in medicines, and there's great breakthroughs that the West has brought. But when we've advanced externally, the tribes through these different plants have advanced internally. So where we can fly to the moon and have someone land on the moon, but in the same generation, we've got people that are anorexic and sick and addicted to drugs, right? So we could get to the moon, but at the same time, we're sort of in pain and we're sick, okay? They haven't got spaceships that go to the moon, but they've gone internally to their own pain and their own shadows, and they've healed those aspects of themselves. So we're talking about human beings that by the time they're 15, 16, they've done the sort of internal, emotional, mental, spiritual work on themselves that some probably 8-year-olds in the West haven't even started looking at, or have just been suppressing or hiding from it for their whole life. So the tribes have also accessed the ability to have real telepathy, which any human has the strength and the ability to connect with telepathy or higher intuition or higher self or whatever you want to call it. But these guys can actually send a message. They can actually send a message from their mind to another person's mind. As mad as that, as crazy as that could sound to someone, but they actually can do that. Why? Because they've been advancing internally, where we've been advancing externally, and it's a whole different process. I'll explain one more thing. Is that like if you look at Western medicine and you look at the tribal medicine, now it's not in all cases, but if like just to look at it sort of from a broad and aerial perspective, Western medicine, it looks at a symptom, and then it sort of deals with the symptom. So a person has a rash. Oh, you've got a rash. Okay, you need to put this thing on the rash and antibiotics. That's the thing. Antibiotics and put this thing on the rash. Put this cream on the rash. The tribal way of looking at it is if you have a rash, that's your body, because your body is like a car. So, like in the way that a car, if you were running out of petrol, the car would then show a light to show you that you need petrol. So the same way that a car shows you the light that you need petrol, the body, through the symptoms that it shows you that something needs to be fixed inside, internally. So the tribal aspect is that if there's a rash on the body outside, yeah, it's nice to put a cream on the rash, but essentially that what the body is saying, there's something inside that's problematic. So that's the tribal aspect. The tribal aspect is saying that if there's a symptom on the outside, that means there's something inside that needs to be dealt with. And this medicine that you drink, the ayahuasca, is something that will go. Once you drink it, it will help you to deal with whatever it is that's going on inside your heart, inside your soul, inside your body, and it will help you to release that from the body. And then from that release, transformation happens and shifts happen, and the person's able to heal on a wholesome way, because this is a plant-based medicine. It has a tribal lineage. There's thousands of years of how to work with it. This is how you use it. This is the way to use it. And when it's done within that sacred channel, when it's done with the respect, then the results are incredible. Just for those people that have seen lots of like horror stories or whatever it is about these plant-based medicines or ayahuasca or anything, because I've heard these stories, um, that before someone does a process like this, they should ideally do real research, because like I said, there are people that will go for a quick fix to the jungle and come back, and they'll start serving this medicine, and they don't know what they're doing, and they can that could be harmful. It will be harmful. So that's so but and just to preview on that, there's even, and I've come across it, it's a whole chapter in my life, but I've even come across a shaman who's from there, but at some point he lost his integrity and the whole thing changed, and it started becoming about his ego and about women and about all other things, and that's also dangerous. So before drinking, so to throw the whole thing out because there are a couple of people that misuse this medicine would be silly. Rather to take the right time and to research and to check in and to really research. Don't rush into drinking ayahuasca. Find out who is it, where they're from, how long have they been working with the medicine, where did they learn, which country does it come from. Find someone. And people are always welcome to ask me questions and send me emails, and I'll help as much as I can in any information. But rather do the research than do the wrong ceremony. That's really the message. Rather do the research than do the wrong ceremony. And that's one of the reasons that after 10 years, now I'm going to the jungle. Because I'd rather, let's do the research, let's take the time, be patient, because it's worth it. And actually, this is divine time anyway. The date that a person's supposed to do these ceremonies has been already set in heaven a long time ago. So we just have to get there. If we're supposed to, then it will happen. But it's nothing that should be chased or done, just on the quick move. It should be really researched, and your feeling should be a feeling that you really feel safe. And even if that means you need to meet the facilitator, the people that are serving the medicine 7 times before you drink it, 8 times before, that's fine as well. That's what I would just suggest on the medicine. So ayahuasca, it's an incredible plant. It's brought a huge amount of healing through to me, um, in my lifetime so far. And yeah, I'm very grateful to be able to be do this work.
So, Moshe, you have given me so many questions as always, but I love the example that you gave of the car and the light going on in the car indicating something is wrong. And this is actually what I tell most of my patients. If a patient is here and I try to explain to them that you are the CEO, you are the chief executive officer of your body, and you have billions and billions of employees working in your body, just making everything work and making all the departments function and doing hundreds and thousands of things. But when something goes wrong, they send a message to you, the CEO, like a little light goes bah, bah, on your dashboard, like bah, 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 an alarm, like, hey, something's wrong. A pain. Oh, I've got a pain here, or I've got a discomfort, or I've got anxiety of something. That's the body speaking to you, and the alarm goes off on your dashboard. But when we go to Western medicine, the Western medicine doctor, the way they treat this issue, they don't go dig and find out, oh, what caused the alarm. What they do is they shut off the alarm. Oh, you're feeling depressed. Okay, here, take this pill. It'll stop you feeling. It'll stop the serotonin absorption into your brain and will stop feeling. So if you don't like how you feel, don't worry about feelings. We'll just shut off the feelings. Who needs emotions? And I think that's a very, very powerful thing that you explained, how Western medicine treats people. They just shut off the alarms, they just treat the symptoms, they have no interest in treating the cause. But now, when we go to the traditional, ancient, tribal way of healing, they go deep within. They want to find the cause. They want to confront the cause, which is not easy, which takes a lot of effort, which takes a lot of pain. Like you said, when you were going through your ceremonies of ayahuasca, there was pain and tears and purging. And I know this because I've gone through similar experiences myself. I've never done ayahuasca, but I've done a lot of internal work to find my traumas and to release them and to let the energy flow again. It's much easier just to get the alarm cut, just cut the alarm off. But it's a lot harder to actually go and find the cause of fire or the cause of the issue and to put that fire out. That takes a lot of effort and courage. And I wanted to ask Moshe, you said there are people that have had bad experiences with ayahuasca, for example. I mean, this is also something that's coming out on mainstream. People going and having ayahuasca ceremony and they get psychosis or they get some sort of mental imbalance. And you said correct. Number one, they need to do the research. But number two, and I wanted to ask you about this, maybe they weren't doing the correct preparation and they weren't ready for it, and they just jumped in to the ocean before they learned how to swim and they complained that they drowned. Maybe you should learn how to swim first. Maybe you should do the correct preparation first. And preparation, I know you mentioned for Wachuma, for instance, preparation was eating the right food, making sure you don't have any meat, no alcohol, no processed sugars, making sure that your mind is right. Is there something for ayahuasca? There must be a special preparation before you actually go do some serious plant medicine like this.
Yeah, so there is massive preparation. It would be similar to like a preparation for a Wachuma ceremony or any other healing sort of plant-based healing process. However, it's much, much, much stricter because essentially, in the jungle, there isn't sugar there. There's no sugar there. You're eating fruits and plants and fish, and for those who eat meat, they would eat meat from the jungle. It's like everything's sort of there already. So the diet over there is pretty clean. But I remember even for like ayahuasca preparations, even things like they would suggest things like overripe avocados you should avoid. So even something like that, that's like an overripe avocado. But it's really to have a clean diet. And also not to be eating too much before you go into the process, because it will just get purged out of you. So really the best, the ideal way would be to, for at least a week or 10 days before, to be on a completely natural diet. So no caffeine, no alcohol, no sugar, no processed foods, completely clean. Fruits, vegetables, water, tea, that kind of clean eating, brown rice, that kind of stuff, clean eating, for a week before. And then if you're going to be drinking ayahuasca in the nighttime, then at least 6 hours before the journey to have your last meal. And then just to, if you're hungry, just to have some water or to have a fruit, but not to like fill up your stomach, because that's just going to come out of you anyway. So you might as well just have it as clean as possible. And then what happens is when you drink the medicine, instead of it cleaning out your stomach, it could go into your stomach and start just going into the mind, the heart, and start to do the work. I mean, either way, the person will probably purge. So preparation is a big thing. I would say the preparation, the intention that the person sets, the space, the person who you're receiving the medicine from, where's that person holding in their life? Are they married? Are they stable? Do they have another job? Like where they're holding in their life? Is this a part-time thing? They're in architecture in the week and then they do this on the weekend. Like who is the person? And do I feel like that's gonna be where I'm gonna like receive healing for myself? So there are lots of factors. Also, if the person's inexperienced, he might pour way too much. Now, if you pour too much wachuma, the person will have a hard time. But the chances of them going into psychosis are really, really small. You'd have to really pour a lot of wachuma for someone to go into psychosis, unless they were unstable from the beginning, which is why people, before doing processes, it has to be clear: are they on medication? How long have they been on medication? What medications are they on? Uh, do these medications contraindicate with the medicines that they're about to take, be it ayahuasca, or be it wachuma, be it mushrooms, or iboga? Should they be clean from the medications? Has the person had narcotics in their system in the last week, in the last 2 weeks? So these are all factors. So when you hear a story that, oh, it was a bad thing and it was terrible, you've got to ask, like, okay, what actually happened? What's the context? Was the person on drugs before? Were they not on drugs? Were they on medications? Were they not on medications? Who was the facilitator that was facilitating? Where did that person learn? What research did the person do? What preparation did the person do for this process? I mean, if you were going in for like any form of really high level surgery or change or operation or doctor appointment or anything like that, take it kind of seriously, and you put the effort in and make sure, like, if you want to have a change in your life, you make sure that it's like as good as you can have it, as good as you can do it. So the same investigation and energy should be put into doing these processes. And personally, that's across the board. It doesn't really matter which plant the person's working with. That's Someone should be with that kind of a consciousness going into these plant experiences, because um, otherwise, if it's the wrong person and they don't know what they're doing, and the person's not prepared, and they didn't know about that to stop the medication or change something or do something, then it can be very dangerous, of course. So those are the cautions. But if those things are checked and it's been done maturely and with experience and care, then the process will be very healing and unbelievable, and the person will have great healing. So it's really important for people not to get stuck on the one side of the bridge, but to be able to say, okay, cool, these are possible difficulties, but I'm actually fine. Cool, let me cross the bridge. So it's like that. And not everyone's supposed to cross the bridge. So it's whatever each person's divine journey is.
Yeah, that's very important, the preparation. And thank you for explaining it with the care and the wisdom, because you obviously have a lot of experience being part of the ceremony, but also facilitating different ceremonies. So that's very important that people need to understand. This is not something that you just do as a weekend because it's a fad, because you saw a documentary about it or you saw it on a movie somewhere. This is serious stuff, and you got to treat it with the respect that it deserves. And I've also seen that with homeopathy because I work with frequency medicine. And I also had to learn that this stuff is needs to be respected. This is not a toy that you just dish out on a weekend. It's not like a party thing that you just do for fun. You have to have deep respect for this. You need to have deep understanding because you can make some serious mistakes. And I'll put my hand up. I made some mistakes with frequency medicine, and that has taught me to respect it and really, really appreciate the power that it has and to be very careful how I deal with it. And also, the people need to be also taught to respect this medicine. And it's, comforting to hear that you're having the same approach of respecting this amazing power that's in these plants. So let's shift a bit and talk about the other plants that you mentioned. I know there's hundreds of plants that the Huni Kuin work with, but you mentioned Sananga, Gumbo, I think, and Rape or Hape. So let's start with the first one, and maybe you can tell us how is it different from ayahuasca? What kind of healing does that plant do? And anything else you can share about it?
The Kambo is a really, really special medicine. It's also it's quite an intense medicine. It's from a frog. So there's a specific frog that is from the Amazon jungle, and this frog, it secretes a poison out of its back to protect itself if an animal tries to go at it. Now, what this poison does is it sort of affects the nervous system, and sort of in a way starts shutting down the nervous system. Okay. So this medicine is basically, it's like a jungle inoculation. That's really what it is. It's like a jungle vaccine. What it does is it cleans out all toxins in the body. Excuse me. Cleans out the liver, the gallbladder. It cleans out the kidneys. It cleans out all the different organs that are in the body. It cleans them out. So essentially, the application is they take like a stick or a piece of incense that's been heated, and they just make a little dot on the external layer of the skin. And the reason, excuse me, the reason they do that is so that they can apply the medicine onto the dot, and that's how the medicine goes into the body, into the system. Then once the medicine, which is really, it's a poison from a frog. But once this poison starts going into the body, it starts affecting, sort of attacking the nervous system, and the whole body starts shutting down. When I had it, I started feeling like quite fainty. Basically, before you have Kambo, you need to drink 2 liters of water just before. So you've got to like knock down 2 liters of water, a liter and a half, 2 liters. But not, you don't have to do more than that. It has to be about 2 liters of water. Then they apply the Kambo. As the Kambo starts affecting the body, you start feeling lightheaded and sort of visuals, but it's not like wow, I'm having visuals. It's more like I'm dying and visuals are starting to happen. It's sort of that kind of a feeling. And as that happens, they wipe the poison off the body. And as they wipe the poison off the body, it starts neutralizing completely. And anything that was like sort of uh, excruciating on the body changes. And what I felt, now people will feel different things depending on their body and what shifts need to happen. But what I felt is I felt this rush started to happen from within my feet, and this rush of energy started moving through my legs, and then through the rest of my body, through all my organs, through my chest, this heat, and all of a sudden this bright yellow projectile purge of stuff came out of me. I had about 3 of those came out of me, and then it became light and clear. It was obviously the water that had. See, that water allows all the trauma, all the gunk that's in the body from all the years of alcohol and from chemicals and from medications and from meats and from all the different things in the body. This allows it to sort of push it out. The water allows to carry it. Otherwise, you just get stuck. You're just gonna, but then water allows it to actually pull it out and then pull it out the body. And then after that, for about 9 months, 10 months, you won't get flu, you won't get sick. Your body is like super healthy, your immune system is super boosted after that. And they actually use it in the jungle for procrastination. Because if you procrastinate in the jungle, you become food, right? So you can't procrastinate in the jungle. You've got to be active. You've got to make sure that you're protected. You've got to make sure you've got what you want. So the Kambo is something they use for procrastination. But I've heard incredible stories about it. Like people with depression have had Kambo and boom, depression gone. I've had people that have had physical bodies in their body, physical pains and physical traumas in their body, Kambo gone. So it flashes stuff because you see every time a person will experience a low frequency, a trauma, someone upset them, someone let them down, negative mind talk, negative emotions, that kind of stuff, the body stores, maybe not all of it, but the body stores that energy, some of that energy. And unless the person's like, exercising or doing conscious work on themselves or tapping or meditation or whatever they're doing that helps them, or ice pools or sweat lodges or ceremonies or whatever it is that allows them, therapies, whatever allows them to allow the stuff to sort of be released from them, then they have a chance. But a lot of the time, it's hard all the time to keep up with, you know, living, paying, parenting, spousing, all the different functions that we're juggling all the time. And at the same time, every time someone did a trauma dump on me, I've got to also now release that as well. Or every time someone took out their negative energy and I happen to do that, and, so these medicines or any pains that I've been carrying from my childhood, or any pains that I carried from my teenagehood, any pains that I carried from my young adulthood, any pain that I carried from yesterday, so these medicines in the Kambo will just allow a release, a full-on release of that level of pain. So it is also a plant that it is it's a medicine that a natural medicine that can also be worked with. Like a person can have Kambo once in 2 months, they can have it once in 6 months, can have it once a year, can have it once in 3 years. Um, so a person could really, and also like a person could have one dot, a person could have two dots, a person could have three dots, four dots, five dots. So every dot would just mean a bit more medicine, a bit more medicine. But the shaman is the one who would be able to understand, okay, for your body, for your weight, for where you are, for what you're at, this is what we advise. 5 dots, okay, or 6 dots, or 7 dots. So that's basically Kambo. Um, there's a lot of material on there's a lot of like social and environmental um, investigation and care and research that the frogs are being treated properly and that the poisons are getting taken from the frog in a kind, gentle way, etc. So, I mean, again, the Huni Kuin, the tribe that I work with, all the medicines are harvested and received in an integral way and for healing of humans and for healing of this world. So, it's just high integrity. So that's the Kambo. Rapé, which is a shamanic tobacco snuff, is also a really powerful. It's probably one of the original medicines, and also it's a medicine that not just the Amazonian tribes, but tribes all over the world have been using a form of, also in Africa, a form of snuff or tobacco to sort of have heightened experiences or connection to what in Africa they're connecting with their ancestors, which is their lineages. The tribal Brazilian, they're also connecting with ancestors or with their with our creator, with the higher, the creator of everything. They believe in a creator, and they believe basically in a creator of the world, and they believe that the creator of the world is imbued and invested in every single aspect of creation. So it's actually it's very similar to my belief structure in a general way, which is also quite beautiful. And then what the rapé does is the rapé is it's applied through a pipe. So you have a really big pipe called a tepi, and a tepi could be made out of wood, it could be made out of monkey bone or eagle bone, or there's various different materials, but it would be made out of a natural material. And they would fill the tobacco, this hape, which is a combination of the tobacco and the ash from different trees, and they would fill this tepi pipe with the tobacco, and then they put it to the left nostril and blow. So the person just receives it. They don't sniff it in, they don't breathe it in. They just have the pipe by their nose, and then the blower with intention blows the pipe, and the hape or the rape moves through the sinus cavity to the back of the head, and then opens up the crown, and it aligns all the energy centers. And then a teardrop comes out the eye. Person breathes, and they feel very present and grounded, sort of like a tree, because that's the tree energy. This is, my wife always says it, it's really her wisdom. Um, that the roots of a tree, what the hape does is like the roots of the tree are pulling it down, and then the branches are pulling up. So that's sort of what the hape is doing in the body. It's sort of grounding the body, but opening up the energy, the crown center. And then they do the other side. So you have a complete balance of this throughout the body. And then obviously the tobacco from a tribal perspective isn't a drug, and it's not a bad plant like from the Western perspective. Now, the Western perspective says tobacco is bad and it gives you cancer, and that's true because they're smoking it, and tobacco is not supposed to be smoked. So when the tribes smoke tobacco, they don't smoke it into their lungs. They smoke and they blow it onto their skin, and that's a cleansing. They're cleaning. They're cleaning all the different energy centers with the smoke, so it's like a cleanse, energy cleanse. They're not breathing it into their lungs because they know if you breathe it into your lungs, you're going to die. You're going to kill yourself. So the way they use the tobacco is through the nose, and that's how they work with the tobacco. And for them, the tobacco is a plant of truth, it's a plant of protection, and it's a plant of cleansing and clearing. So if there's negative energy in the body, if there's anger, if there's fear, if there's all these different energies, they'll work with this medicine, and it will clear all those energies from the body. Now, it's really a multi-purpose tool, and it's a really, really powerful medicine, because essentially what it does is, if a person is working with ayahuasca or one of these medicines, and they say they're feeling out of it, they're not feeling like in a good space, and they're feeling like they're being challenged in a way that they don't know how to deal with it, at that point the shaman will blow a little bit of the hape for the person, and it will help them and ground them. Okay. Or if the person's going through their process, their healing process, and they feel that there's a nausea and they're sweating and it's hard, but nothing's coming out of them, the shaman will blow a hape for them, and that will help pull that thing out of them, and they'll be able to release it. And then also, I was talking earlier about telepathy, but the hape is also, it's a plant where they could set an intention and blow the intention, and that would be sending something out to someone else or somewhere else. Um, and also for intention setting. So before doing a plant-based healing, or before meditation, or before something that's like important, someone could actually set an intention with the hape. Okay, like, may I receive the higher good in this experience I'm about to receive, and may I be in my highest alignment in this experience. And that will set an intention within their own energy for where they're going, what they're doing. So it's a really profound medicine, and I've been working with this medicine for about 7 years, 8 years, about 7 years now, and I really believe I'm only at the beginning of it. And I feel that because there are hundreds of different hapes, and they're made with different plants, and there's different recipes, and different tribes have different recipes. So even this journey that I'm on now is going to be one lens. It's going to be the lens of the Huni Queen. And if the Huni, if they wish to share the lens of the tribes that they share space with, like the Yawanawa who might be around from them, and they might share other types of wisdoms with me that they've gathered. But really, I'm going to see the Huni Queen's lens. There might be other times where I go and see the lens of other tribes, etc. But right now, I'm gonna get a very in-depth perspective from one perspective, and I'm really happy about that, because instead of being all spread out, I've always had an affinity, and I've drank a lot of ayahuasca, and as I was exploring and doing my own healing, I somehow always gravitated towards the Huni Queen. And there were other options that always came up, but somehow my soul was going this way. So Um, yeah, so I think we've covered a little bit of ayahuasca. I'm sure I'm going to come back with a lot about these plants. I will be learning over there how to make ayahuasca, how to identify all the different plants over there, which ones, what quantities to use, how to brew it, how to work with it, how to facilitate the space. But I will go back at a point with my wife where we'll go for a deeper um, teaching, a deeper learning about the medicine. Right now, yeah, so that's ayahuasca, the Kambo and the Hape. So the last medicine that I spoke about was Sananga. Now, Sananga is also known as eagle vision. So it's called eagle vision because before the tribe go out and hunt in the Amazon, in the forest, before they go out and hunt, they take some of this medicine into their eyes. So it's an eye drop that comes from a bush. I haven't learned how to prepare it, but I will be learning how to prepare it. It comes from a bush, a specific bush in the Amazon jungle, and from this they make a liquid which is an eye drop. Essentially, the way it's applicated is that the person would either be lying down horizontally on their back with their head sort of balanced, so not on like a high pillow, but sort of balanced, and they would keep their eyes closed, and they would then get a drop of Sananga put on the one corner of the eye and then on the other corner of the eye while their eyes are closed. And then the facilitator or the shaman would ask them, please open your eyes. Once they open their eyes, the medicine goes into their eyeball. And as it goes in, it gives like an incredible shock and an incredible burn. So you'll notice in all these medicines that I've been speaking about, there's sort of a very challenging part that happens. And then after that, there's all the reward and the blessing and the receiving of after you've released the receiving of whatever is in that new energy that you're receiving. But essentially that's work. It takes hard work, it's like you have to face yourself and you have to face aspects of yourself. So the Sananga burns the eyes. There are different ways of explaining the burn, but it's like a real deep burn. For about 10 minutes, you can't really open your eyes. It's sort of like a feeling. I remember when I had my first Sananga, I felt like, okay, this is what it means to be blind. I understand now. And at the same time that my eyes were being closed, uh, tears were gushing out of my eyes, like sort of purged out of my eyes. And then all of a sudden, I started getting visuals in my third eye, and I actually remember that I had memories that got like sort of purged and released from my subconscious and then just came into a teardrop and came out my eye. Um, Another time I've had Sananga where I had the Sananga, it burned, the tears came out, all of that. And then the next thing I got this very clear knowing of what I needed to do in a certain aspect of my life, like very clear. So they call it eagle vision because it also helps with um, uh, hunting so that they can see where they need to see. They can see further because after working with the Sananga, they can see clearly, they can see further. Their eyes, it balances out the eye, it cleans out bacteria in the eyes. Um, it has been proven to help with uh, glaucoma, I think it's called, cataracts, a different sort of. We actually had a client who had like a sty, a pussy sort of thing by the eye, and she had Sananga, and the very next day it was gone. So it sort of clears and uh, releases everything from the actual physical eye, but then it also releases from the spiritual eye, which is the third eye. So information that was taken in through the eyes that shouldn't have been taken in, or that actually creates blockage within the psyche, it will clear that information. It will clear that negativity, that negative energy. And then it naturally, once you receive the Sananga, it naturally boosts like a very strong level of serotonin through the body and flushes any negativity in the body. And that whole process is about a 15-minute process. And it's really enlightening. It's like an absolutely beautiful process. When the burn happens, when the person receives the Sananga and it starts burning, there's no way that you can stop the burning. You can't wipe your eyes. You can't put water there. Nothing is going to stop the burning. So until it stops, which is about either between 5 and 10 minutes, depending on the quality of the Sananga. So the only thing that the person should do while that burning is happening is just focus on your breath. And as you breathe, and as you breathe, you start coming, you start sort of coming to peace with the pain. And as you start coming to peace with the pain, and you're not sort of focusing on pain, but you're focusing on breath, the teaching of the medicine starts coming through. So that's pretty much how the Sananga works. That's that medicine. Um, I wanted to share just a little bit off the medicine because uh, I'll come back and share a lot more with a lot more understanding. But something that I did want to share, which I'm really excited about, is actually being in the jungle and being in the jungle amongst the villages and the trees and the plants and being on the land and being in the water over there and drinking and eating from the jungle and living off the jungle for a month is something that really excites me. A lot of my friends, and I mean, we from the city, and a lot of my friends are like, how you gonna eat, and how you gonna do this, and how you gonna do that, and but it's just this idea of knowing that I can just trust my creator who created this entire world and all its galaxies and everything that's in it. And I can just trust that what I will need will be there, and when I need it, it will be there. I am obviously taking whatever I need to prepare for myself, pots and knives and forks, etc. But just this trust, this going on this journey of trusting that whatever I'm going to need is going to be there. And it might not be, as good as my wife's cooking, but it's going to be natural and it's going to be from the earth. So I'm really excited about that. Another thing they warned me about was mosquitoes, not so much malaria, but just the mosquito in general. That even though it's really hot during the day, that I should wear long sleeves all the time, long sleeve pants, that I need to come with boots, that I need a mosquito net for my bed at night or for my hammock at night. But as long as I have a mosquito net for protection. So it's just understanding the conditions that I'm going into. And like there's the sunny time, the dry season, and there's the wet season. I mean, I'm going in the wet season, so I'm going in like the harshest sort of conditions of the Amazon. Um, but somehow I don't have any fear or anxiety about it. I feel really calm about it. I feel like I've been carried so far to this point. It's so obvious that I'm going to be carried all the way back there and carried all the way back. It's just been the alignments that have been happening for this journey have been very clear and present. So, but yeah, the conditions are something interesting. Like I said, for me to get into the actual Amazon, I go on a boat for a day and a half on one of the rivers, one of the quite a big river that goes through the Amazon until we get to the actual village, and then I'll be there for just about a month. I'll be there for a month, um, and then slowly start, well, not so slowly, but start making my way back. And essentially, it won't be the last time. My intentions are to really get to know these healers, these real true custodians. They're really kings of the plant world. Um, like you have, a president of a big country, and you have the kings of different countries. These people might not be the kings of a country, but they are definitely the kings of the plant world. Not to say that there's only one, but they are the kings of the plant world, and they are the true custodians of these ancient wisdoms and these ancient knowledges when it comes from a plant aspect. And I'm really excited to learn from them, and I'm humbled. I'm humbled that I have this opportunity in my life to actually go there. Um, and it's not simple getting there, but that this has been presented in such a way, and that it's happening. Yeah, so I'm leaving tomorrow. Um, and yeah, there's a big journey ahead, but I don't think I'm prepared because I don't think that I could really be prepared. But from the aspect of where I'm holding, I was as prepared as I could be at this point.
Moshe, we know this is not a holiday. This is a wonderful spiritual opportunity that you have earned through your work and dedication and purging and internal attention and clearing that you've done to get an invite from this prestigious tribe. And like you said, they are the custodians of plant medicine in the Amazon jungle. This is such an important role. They know all these plants, so many of them. They know the animals. They know how to live in one with the jungle. And this is not a nice city life where you can chill and relax and watch Netflix and order takeout, Uber Eats, order food from Checkers 6060. They're living in real tough conditions, and they're learning to be one with that. And they have invited you because you are worthy of that invitation. We're so grateful, Moshe, that you are sharing this journey with us. I have great respect, for what you're going through. I'm not ready for that. I have a lot more internal work to do before I'm even thinking about this type of stuff. But you've done the work, and I'm really, really grateful that you are sharing the knowledge and the wisdom so other people can become aware of what it takes, and also that you are going to share with us when you come back from this trip. I mean, it's quite a serious trip to go into the heart of the big, great Amazon jungle and live with an indigenous tribe who have, for thousands and thousands of years, held the knowledge and passed it down from generation to generation to generation. This amazing, amazing wisdom. Moshe, we have come to the end of our show, but is there anything else you'd like to share before we close off?
So yeah, thank you very much for those kind words. I really appreciate it, and your words also will give me strength on my journey when I'm moving through the jungle. This session with you will also give me strength, so I really appreciate it. There is one thing we spoke about. Actually, the invitation that the chief sent me, the reason for our meeting, he said, was a exchange of cultural wisdom. And for me that was also quite a humbling invitation, because essentially what he's saying, what will happen is that also I hold a cultural wisdom. I hold a cultural wisdom, and he holds a cultural wisdom, and we're going to come together. And a friend of mine said it's like a meeting place of minds. We're going to come together in the Amazon jungle, and we're going to drink some mutis that come from the Amazon jungle together, and we're going to share this cultural wisdom. He's going to sing, they're going to sing, and teach me songs that are from thousands of years from their lineage, and I'm going to sing and teach them songs that are thousands of years from my lineage. So there's this beautiful unifying connection between two tribes, and I'm representing a tribe of one individual. I'm going on my own, but really I'm representing a tribe. I'm representing South Africa. I'm representing a lot of things as I go there. So um, yeah, it's profoundly humbling, and I'm really really excited to do this. Thank you so much. Yeah, I will. Please God take care of myself, and I look forward to connecting with you and with all the viewers, and just being able to share any wisdom and anything that I learned over there. Um, and like I said, anyone is welcome to get in touch and to contact us if they have questions. Either if you want to do any plant-based processes with myself, with my wife, we already work with lots of incredible plant technologies, and also we work with natural technologies that you don't have to take anything. Um, but also if people have a question, am I ready? Am I not ready? Where should I start? Is this the right place to go? Whatever those questions are, please ask, because we've done a lot of I have done a lot of bumping my head because there wasn't really someone who I could ask. So it's been 10 years of that, and I've chosen now I'm not bumping my head anymore unless I'm supposed to. Um, but I would like to be able to shortcut that for other people. And if there's people that are interested in transformation, they want to move away from pain, addiction. And the truth is, with these transformations, you don't have to really have You don't have to be broken either. You can actually be really good. You could be running an amazing business and have a great relationship, and everything should be good with you. And these plants will just help you get to another level of understanding yourself and another level of your own growth. So it's not always from a place of brokenness. These plants are available for all different types of scenarios. But if there's a question and you're not sure and you want to reach out, please feel free to email us, and we, either myself or my wife, will get back to you on any questions, and rather ask, and then you'll be able to have more clarity in your own journey. So just wishing everyone well. Thank you, Deepak.
So Moshe, I do have one last question that I just thought of, while you were talking there. Practically, you don't speak Portuguese, I take, and I assume the Huni Kuin tribe also don't speak Portuguese. They probably speak some ancient indigenous language. How are you going to communicate with them? Does someone actually speak English in the tribe, or are you going to have a translator? How are you going to communicate with them, or are you just going to be using gestures and um, communicating with the body?
Question: I do not speak Brazilian Portuguese yet, and I do not speak Huni Kuin yet. I do know how to say haush. That means like Hallelujah or praise the Lord. Um, so I do communicate with them. So what I'm going to do is like this. During the week, if in any form of communication, if it's like shallow communication, like I want to eat or let's go for a walk, I'll use gestures. If it's something that I need to communicate that like is specific and there's like information that's necessary, I will translate it on an app. I'll translate whatever I need to translate. On Shabbat, I keep Shabbat. So on Shabbat, I can't work with technology or anything like that. On Shabbat, I will be silent, or I will communicate with gesture. In an ayahuasca ceremony, I don't need anything because we communicate perfectly, we understand each other perfectly, everything's clear. So it's outside of the ceremony, I'll use whatever technology I need. Um, they don't have anyone there at this time that speaks English or who is a translator. It does happen at some points that there could be a Westerner or someone who's there or some apprentice or something. It can happen, but I am the only person that's going to be from outside of the tribe there for the month that I'm there. So I'll work it out. And please God, I'll come back speaking a little bit of Brazilian Portuguese as well.
Amazing, Moshe. We wish you well on this journey. You are in our prayers and want you to come back with wisdom that you can share with us and come back knowing a little bit more about the amazing plants and this amazing tribe. Safe travels, brother. We look forward to your return. Till then, everyone, ciao for now.